After losing my memory, I found a contact labeled boyfriend in my phone, so I carefully dialed the number. "Excuse me, are you my boyfriend?" After a moment of silence on the other end, a lazy and pleasant male voice responded. "Of course, baby." It wasn't until I regained my memory that I realized I had mistaken my crush for my boyfriend. Huh? Isn't my crush hates gay guys the most? Looking at the contact named boyfriend in my phone, my face crumpled in confusion. After hesitating for a long while, I carefully made the call. The phone was picked up after just 2 rings. I hurriedly asked, "Hello, are you my boyfriend?" There was a sudden silence on the line. "I am not mistaken, right?" As doubt began to fill my mind, a lazy voice finally came through from the other end. "Of course, baby." His endearing and natural pet name eased my anxiety. I hadn't dialed the wrong number. It seemed I really did have a boyfriend. "Can you come to the People's Hospital, room F01, to pick me up?" "Are you sick?" I was embarrassed to explain. I hit my head when I went out today and lost some of my memory mysteriously. But the doctor said there's nothing wrong with my brain. It's for safety. The doctor insisted a family member should pick me up before I could leave. "My parents are out of town, so my boyfriend counts as family, right?" There was another pause on the line. Then the person slowly reassured me. "Don't be scared. I'll be right there." With his promise, I finally stopped panicking. Since being sent to the hospital, my mind has been a mess, unable to connect any memories. The doctor said I lost some memories due to extreme stress and fear. The craziest part is that I forgot I had a boyfriend. I don't know what my boyfriend looks like, but with such a nice voice, he mustn't be too bad, right? After all, I am a gay who is picky about looks. Just as I was nervously scratching my hands, the door to the room was pushed open by a tall young man. He was dressed in black, his face blessed with perfect genetics. His eyebrows and eyes were sparse, his demeanor aristocratic. I was stunned. Huh? Isn't this Joe Young, the campus heartthrob from our university? What's he doing here? As I stood there in a state of confusion, Joe Young had already stood in front of me. He scanned me up and down. His eyes seemed to carry an unreadable emotion. Suddenly, he leaned in close to me, so near I could clearly see his dark eyes. "What are you daydreaming about, baby?" His lazy voice matched the one I heard on the phone. He really was my boyfriend. But I'm still not sure. "Are you my boyfriend?" Although I've lost some of my memories, I still remember that you are Joe Young, a student at our school, and you are straight. Joe Young's expression remained calm as he explained softly. "I was indeed straight, but I fell in love with you at first sight and turned. I chased you for a long time before I dated you." Saying this, he took out his phone and turned on the screen. The lock screen wallpaper was a photo of me. "This is the one you insisted I change to, or else you'd pout and throw a fit." Am I really that shameless when in love? I blinked in disbelief. "Sorry, I really don't remember." Joe Young patted my head, his voice growing tender. "It's okay, as long as you are still with me." His straightforward romantic words made my ears heat up, and instinctively I nuzzled his hand in response, making me feel like a harmless, fluffy little animal. Joe Young was completely my ideal type. A handsome and excellent son of heaven, yet he spoke to me with such gentleness. This gave my confused and chaotic heart something to rely on. While Joe Young went to talk to the doctor, I opened the camera and sneakily took a photo of his back. Since he had set my photo as his lock screen, I had to do the same. Joe Young was extremely photogenic. Even a random snapshot of him looked like a magazine shoot. Just as I was joyfully preparing to change the wallpaper, I accidentally discovered that my phone album was hiding many secrets. It was a bunch of photos, all of Joe Young, him eating, playing basketball, in class. I was really obsessed with him. Pursing my lips in embarrassment, my doubts fading slightly. Then someone gently pinched my face, and Joe Young's voice, tinged with laughter, sounded, "What are you grinning about?" Blushing, I handed him my phone. "Joe Young, there are so many photos of you in my phone." Joe Young's expression suddenly froze. He stared intently at my phone screen, the emotions in his eyes becoming difficult to discern. I thought he was upset because he didn't like the photos, so I softly apologized. "Sorry, I'll delete them." "Don't be angry, Joe Young." But Joe Young seemed to snap back to reality and stopped me. "No need to delete them. Keep them. I'm afraid you think they look bad. No, they look very good, because in places I didn't know about, I was loved by you like this. This makes me almost too happy, baby. Jo-young's voice grew hoarse, and his eyes showed real excitement and warmth, as if he had unexpectedly discovered a treasure. My heart relaxed. It seemed Jo-young really liked me, and I truly liked him too. This made my gay heart feel all soft inside, and I obediently let Jo-young take me back to school. However, when he dropped me off at the dorm, we found that my roommates were all there. Air High at the door greeted me with a grin. Mengting, where did you go today? You're usually so well-behaved, don't tell me you. Holy shit, Jo-young? His tone suddenly rose several notches when he saw Jo-young behind me, causing the other roommates to look over in surprise, as if they couldn't believe why Jo-young would show up here. I looked perplexed at Jo-young, who was already standing next to me. Huh? The roommates I live with every day don't know about my relationship with Jo-young. Jo-young is my boyfriend. Isn't it normal for him to bring me back? My roommates' faces showed even more confusion. When did you start dating? No, when did you turn gay? So Jo-young is also. Watching my roommates' stunned expressions, I immediately realized something was off. Oh no, it seems my roommates didn't know about my sexual orientation. My earlier statement essentially blew my carefully maintained cover, outing myself on the spot. This amnesia is really the root of all troubles. At this helpless moment, a firm hand grasped mine tightly, and then I heard Jo-young speak calmly. Sorry to interrupt, I am indeed Mengting's boyfriend. He was afraid you might be homophobic or dislike him, so he never told you. If you have any discomfort, please come to me, don't scare him. Jo-young comes from a very privileged background, and almost no one in the school dares to offend him. So even though his words were brief and polite, even carrying a hint of a smile, they sent a chill down everyone's spine. The roommates shivered and quickly replied obsequiously. No, we are just a bit surprised. Senior, come in and sit. Why stay at the cold doorway? Jo-young nodded politely and led me inside as if he was the host here. Seeing him so composed, I too managed to stay calm. Thankfully, Jo-young was here, otherwise I would have been in a real mess today. This made me rely on him even more, with my gaze constantly following him. While talking to my roommates about my amnesia, Jo-young suddenly smiled at me and then pinched my cheek. He was flirty and intimate, but still very serious. If he feels unwell, call me. I'll answer no matter how late it is. The roommates quickly agreed. Soon, Jo-young was about to leave. Just as I was arguing about whether to walk him downstairs, he had already pulled me out of the dorm, leaving behind the gossiping roommates. I followed Jo-young downstairs to the male dormitory with my ears still burning red. Fortunately, there were only few people around at this time. Jo-young, you should go back and rest early. Jo-young raised his eyebrows slightly, with a teasing tone. Baby, what did you call me? Jo-young? That's not what you called me before. My eyelashes fluttered and I asked him embarrassedly, Sorry, I really forgot. Can you remind me? Jo-young's lips curved slightly. You used to call me husband. I was completely flustered. Calling him something so intimate? We are both men. Isn't it a bit inappropriate? I mumbled with my lips and my embarrassment prevented me from speaking out loud. Fortunately, Jo-young didn't make it difficult for me and simply offered an alternative. It's okay. A different pet name is fine as well. A different pet name? Several intimate nicknames flashed through my mind, and I finally settled on one. So I tentatively said, Bro, brother? As soon as the words left my mouth, I saw Jo-young's expression change, followed by a barely audible curse from him. Mengting, you're so cute. I blushed and didn't dare to say anything, my gaze wandering, because I felt that Jo-young seemed like he wanted to kiss me. But fortunately, Jo-young didn't do anything more, just reminded me to rest well. Go back, I'll come pick you up for class tomorrow morning. I obediently nodded in agreement, then he patted my head like one would pet a cat. After he turned to leave, I also headed back to the dormitory, but I couldn't help but look back at him. Unexpectedly, I saw Jo-young throwing something into the trash can, a sweat-soaked tissue. Huh? What could make someone as cool as Jo-young nervous? Today, I mysteriously lost my memory, then got an excessively outstanding boyfriend, and suddenly came out of the closet. With the speed of a rocket, I hadn't even had a chance to feel bewildered before my roommates started teasingly interrogating me with laughter. But I was completely clueless and really couldn't explain anything. After a few jokes, they quickly let me rest. Thankfully, they are not homophobic. I breathed a sigh of relief. A day like a roller coaster left me physically and mentally exhausted, and I fell asleep immediately. I dreamt of Zhou Yang, a very different Zhou Yang from today. He wasn't by my side, but in a crowd. The center of attention, flamboyant and unrestrained. Half of his side face hidden in the sunset's afterglow, ridiculously handsome. Hai, my roommate whispered to me. Mengting, do you see that guy? He's a senior 1 year older than us, named Zhou Yang. He is said to be their year's top scholar in the college entrance exam, extremely wealthy and as good-looking as Daniel Wu. Damn, would it kill the world to have me to be as good as him? My roommate sighed endlessly. I smiled, wanting to tell him that he was my boyfriend, but I couldn't make any sound. As I struggled to speak, Zhou Yang had already been surrounded by a group of guys and left. He didn't even glance at me from start to finish. Cold and unattainable, a stark contrast to the tenderness he showed me today. I panicked. Why was Zhou Yang ignoring me? In the flurry, the scene shifted, and I found myself in the library. I saw Zhou Yang had forgotten his library card while borrowing books. The librarian was stubborn. No card meant no borrowing. As the atmosphere tensed, I mustered up the courage to hand over my own library card from behind. Zhou Yang was stunned, played with my library card for a while, and glanced at me sideways. The corner of his eye curved into an extremely attractive arc. Mengting? Thanks. I wanted to say, you're welcome, but still couldn't make any sound. I was grunting with anxiety, then I suddenly found myself outside a basketball court. A handsome young man was confessing to Zhou Yang. The surrounding crowd immediately started making curious and gossipy noises. But Zhou Yang, while playing basketball, didn't even look up, just lazily spat out 2 words. Get lost. The boy's face turned pale, and he awkwardly left, brushing past me, who was dazed. At that moment, Zhou Yang seemed to sense something and looked up at me. His brows were slightly furrowed and his gaze was indescribable. Uncontrollably, I tensed my face and turned away, as if tired of this whole drama. Yet, an uncontrollable sourness welled up within me. Was this a memory from before, or just a dream? If it was a real memory, how could Zhou Yang be so homophobic? Then why did he become my boyfriend? It's so confusing. What's wrong? These questions weighed on me uncomfortably in my sleep until I was gently shaken awake, still somewhat dazed. Hai poked me again. Mengting, you're sweating a lot in your sleep. Are you feeling unwell? I took a couple of deep breaths and shook my head. No, I just hadn't waken up fully. That's good. Get up. Zhou Yang has been waiting for you downstairs for a while. Zhou Yang? I hurriedly got up and looked out the window. Zhou Yang was standing leisurely next to a small flower bed, looking as if he belonged in a photo shoot. His gaze was fixed on the entrance of our male dorm, looking in a very good mood. Hai continued with a sleazy tone. Bro, how did such a good boy like you manage to get such a wild man? He even brought you breakfast. It turns out gay love can be so mushy too. Many of our female classmates will probably go to bed crying with envy tonight. I don't remember, but he said he is the one pursued me. Damn, really? If that's true, it could even be added to your resume. I chuckled awkwardly, also secretly relieved. It seems last night was just a dream, and dreams are the opposite of reality. The shadows in my heart gradually dissipated, and I hurriedly washed up and rushed downstairs. Zhou Yang, sorry I overslept. Upon seeing me, Zhou Yang slightly straightened up. His tone was lazy, dragging the end of his sentence. Forgot what we agreed last night? I bit my lip embarrassedly and called out softly, Brother. Zhou Yang was satisfied, raising his hand as if to pat my head. But with many students passing by, he paused, finally just helping to smooth a tuft of my hair. Polite, yet not overstepping. Intimate, yet also stopping at the right moment. Underneath the lingering unease, I didn't know where my boldness came from, but I just leaned into him. Zhou Yang froze for a moment. So proactive, aren't you afraid? I knew what he meant. He was worried about being criticized for being too intimate with me. Although society has become more open, it's still somewhat novel. Facing the sudden surprised looks of others, I looked at him with full trust. I'm not afraid. Actually, I was scared, even a bit uneasy. I feared that the distant and indifferent Zhou Yang from last night's dream was real, unreachable. Only through close contact with him could I feel at ease. Zhou Yang walked me to the door of my professional class because he had a class and left first. Watching his relaxed back, I turned and entered the classroom. No joke, it felt like a spotlight of 100,000 volts hit my face. I coughed lightly and slowly sat down with the breakfast Zhou Yang bought for me. Then I heard a rustle of murmurs. My name and Zhou Yang's, along with the term gay, were frequently mentioned. I guess the school's gossip spread really fast. While sipping soy milk and browsing the school gossip posts on my phone, a few classmates came over to ask why I was absent yesterday. I really couldn't remember who they were, but I politely and briefly replied that I was sick. Then I pretended not to see the gossip in their eyes. Fortunately, the professor arrived soon and the murmuring was suppressed, but throughout the class, people occasionally turned to look at me. I remained calm, wanting to find Zhou Yang after class. Just as class ended and I was about to stand up, a tall and muscular guy blocked my way. Meng Ting, since you're gay, why did you play pure and reject me back then? As he spoke, those packing up slowed their actions. Those on their phones typed even faster, excited as if sending telegrams. Under the gaze of everyone, I dumbly looked up at this guy. Plain face, short neck. I couldn't remember. Really couldn't remember. He probably wasn't anyone important, because I would definitely remember such a brainless and foolish classmate, even with amnesia. So I responded politely, "Who are you?" The guy was stunned, then his face twisted in anger. Yo, played pure and now playing the stranger? You are so shameless just for Zhou Yang's money. I'm usually patient, but now I understood this person was just looking for trouble. My face immediately turned cold. Just as I was about to confront him, a familiar lazy voice came from the classroom door. I can't wait for him to get his hands on me, and it's none of your business. The guy who was previously aggressive suddenly looked like a chicken being strangled by the neck. He wanted to say something, but under Zhou Yang's unsmiling face, he dejectedly turned and walked away. I hurriedly grabbed my bag and ran to Zhou Yang. I wasn't sure how much Zhou Yang had heard or if he would overthink it. I hung my head, wanting to explain. About that guy just now. But Zhou Yang asked me another question. Baby, are you hungry? I was taken aback. Huh? Would you honor me by coming to eat something nice with me? I paused for a moment, then looked up at him and smiled obediently. Sure. Zhou Yang trusts me. He's really good. My heart fluttered as I followed Zhou Yang out of the classroom, only to run into several guys laughing sleazily. Yo, so Zhou Yang's dream really came true. I thought it was just people spreading fake news in the group. Hello, Junior. I'm Zhou Yang's roommate. He may seem like a playboy, but he's actually very virtuous. Ever since he fell for you in the library, he's been plotting daily how to bump into you accidentally. Totally a devoted fan. Right, he even talks about you in his sleep, but he's too shy to confess. Haha. The guy next to them, now exposed, looked at them impatiently. If you have something to say it. Otherwise, get lost. All right, we won't disturb your date with the junior. We're leaving. Goodbye, Junior. I smiled and said goodbye to them, feeling soft-hearted inside. So that's what Zhou Yang is like behind the scenes. I tugged at the sleeve of the guy next to me, unable to resist, and asked a question. Zhou Yang, why didn't you just confess to me directly back then? The guy turned his hand and held mine as we walked out, replying calmly, I thought you were homophobic. I suddenly understood. So it was a misunderstanding that led him to secretly in love for me, but thankfully we still ended up together. Under the gaze of others, both well-meaning and malicious, I happily moved closer to him. Zhou Yang and I continued dating. Sweet and intimate. The buzz about our relationship on the school's gossip channels was quickly replaced by the pressure of final exams. This relieved me. Finally, people stopped discussing us all the time. However, as time went on, I began to feel a bit puzzled. Zhou Yang seemed to rarely have very intimate contact with me. At most, we held hands or he patted my head, and even hugs were sadly rare. Shouldn't normal couples kiss? Could it be that he prefers a platonic relationship? Clearly, the way he looked at me was intense, nothing restrained about it. But I was too embarrassed to ask directly. It felt like Zhou Yang was somehow keeping an exit strategy for himself, and for me too. What was he wary of? I kept these thoughts to myself until they started causing insomnia. One day, during Zhou Yang's roommate's birthday party, I was dragged along to join. The young men were lively, passing drinks and making merry, drawing attention, especially Zhou Yang. Sitting by Zhou Yang, I was distracted and took a sip of alcohol without noticing it. Just that small sip, and I began feeling dizzy. Oh, so I used to be a lightweight. I felt so bad I covered my face, not making a sound, and Zhou Yang quickly noticed something was wrong. Did you drink? Yeah, I responded slowly. In a daze, I heard Zhou Yang chuckle, then he seemed to say something to his roommates, sparking a round of laughter and teasing. Later, I felt myself being piggybacked. The back was broad and strong, emitting a pleasant and familiar scent. It comforted me immensely, lulling me into sleep. When I woke up, I found myself in the dormitory. It was very quiet, my roommates were out, and my boyfriend Zhou Yang was squatting in front of me, helping me take off my shoes. The posture was a bit awkward, making my already foggy head even more muddled. I couldn't help but call out to him. Zhou Yang? He just lifted his eyelids to look at me. Even though my mind wasn't clear, I instinctively changed how I addressed him. Brother, what's wrong? Do you feel bad? I shook my head and whispered, No, there's something I want to do. What is it? Zhou Yang sat down beside me. His gaze was captivating. Dizzily, I looked at him. Then my gaze disobediently began to drift downwards. It settled on his thin lips. As the saying goes, in vino veritas, so I spoke my mind. I want to kiss you. Is that okay? After my words, the dormitory fell deathly silent. Zhou Yang's eyes suddenly heated up, scorching me to the point my neck turned red. But after waiting a while, he made no move. Thinking he was waiting for me to initiate, I leaned in. But just as I was about to kiss him, a finger with distinct knuckles gently pressed against my forehead. Then Zhou Yang's slightly husky voice sounded, saying, Mengting, we can't, because I'm already being too greedy. Confused, I blinked. I didn't understand what he meant. He seemed to say something else. But my drunkenness surged again, and I grunted before falling back asleep. In a haze, I felt someone continuously taking care of me gently. I comfortably turned over. Having a boyfriend is nice, although I can't kiss him. The next day when I woke up, I stared at the dormitory ceiling for a long time, then slowly curled up in the blanket and began to silently scream. What the heck? What did I do last night? I actually tried to make a move, and to make things worse, I was rejected by Zhou Yang. This made me so embarrassed I wanted to buy a standing-only ticket and leave the planet. After the embarrassment, I started to feel emo. Why did Zhou Yang reject me? Was he just playing with me? I was extremely upset. So much so that when I tried to get out of bed to wash up, I didn't notice and stepped into thin air. I lost control and fell to the ground, hitting my head hard. Ouch! The pain made me gasp. Unfortunately, the dorm seemed empty. I struggled to get up, but then started feeling dizzy. A lot of memories were suddenly flooding into my head, chaotic and jumbled. So much so that everything went black and I fainted. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. My roommate, He, was sitting beside me. Hey, you finally woke up, Mengting. My already confused brain was bewildered. He? Why am I in the hospital? We came back from staying up all night at the internet cafe surfing the internet, and when we entered the dorm, we found you lying on the floor, not even moving, so we immediately sent you to the hospital. Don't worry, you just slightly hit your head, nothing serious. Your boyfriend will be here soon. I paused as I rubbed my forehead, confused. My boyfriend? Where did I get a boyfriend from? Now it was He's turn to be dumbfounded. Wait, your boyfriend Zhou Yang, our campus heartthrob. You two were all lovey-dovey going out to eat just yesterday. Zhou Yang? He's my boyfriend. I was completely dumbfounded, and my head hurt even more. The two memories were mixing together, making it hard for me to distinguish what was real and what was a dream. At that moment, a young man walked into the hospital room in a hurry. His face was strikingly handsome, but his brows were furrowed with worry. It was Zhou Yang. Seeing me sitting there dazed, he sighed and immediately came over to hug me, his voice filled with comfort. His fresh, pleasant scent overwhelmed my senses, causing my brain to almost shut down. If only I had stayed with you last night. Are you still feeling bad, baby? Baby? Zhou Yang calling me baby? The ringing in my head was overwhelming, my heart racing. He chuckled and said, "I'll leave you two alone then." By the way, Senior Zhou Yang, Meng Ting seemed a bit off just now. He actually forgot he had a boyfriend. After saying that, he wisely left the room. But Zhou Yang, who was hugging me, stiffened up. After a moment, he gently let me go and created a polite distance between us. I looked up at him and saw his handsome face filled with remorse and helplessness. This wasn't like the assertive and carefree person he usually was. His voice was strained as he asked me, "Meng Ting, do you remember now?" I blushed and nodded. Sort of remember now. I remembered how I had secretly adored Zhou Yang, but was afraid to confess because I thought he was homophobic, so I secretly saved his contact as boyfriend. After losing my memory, I mistook my crush as my actual boyfriend. The fact that I have a crush on him was revealed. Yet, he didn't reject or despise me and just took the role. He treated me well and even said he liked me. And he cajoled me into calling him brother. It was indeed surprising. I awkwardly moved my lips, wanting to confirm something but unsure how to begin. "Sorry." Zhou Yang suddenly apologized, his gaze intensely focused on me. My eyelashes trembled. "It's okay, it was my fault." Then there was a deathly silence. Suddenly, Zhou Yang clicked his tongue. He leaned in again, somewhat obsessively asking, "Meng Ting, can we still date?" I avoided his gaze, my voice muffled. "I don't know." I really didn't know how to face Zhou Yang. Before losing my memory, I had a crush on him. After losing my memory, I found out he liked me too, and we had become boyfriends. This made me very happy, but also a bit unreal and guilty. So I wanted to wait until my head was completely clear before talking things through with him properly. This was not only responsible towards him, but also respectful. Zhou Yang must have noticed my discomfort. He didn't tease me like before, but still looked at me with an intense and straightforward gaze. After accompanying me back from the hospital, Zhou Yang brought me breakfast every day and picked me up after class. I casually mentioned a viral snack, and he spent half a day traveling to the other side of the city to buy it for me. If my shoelaces came undone, he naturally and boldly knelt down to tie them for me. The other people were shocked and made my heart race with excitement. For some reason, I always felt like a herbivore, and he was the carnivore eyeing me. His gaze was inescapable. Zhou Yang's flamboyant yet humble demeanor revived the once quiet school gossip channels. Did they break up? How come they haven't been seen holding hands for a long time? Break up my ass. They are even more clingy now. Help. I feel like Zhou Yang seems like a total lovesick fool now. When will Meng Ting hold a class on how to tame a campus heartthrob? I'd kneel to listen. Damn, I just got fed a dose of dog food by them at Lover's Lake. I saw it too. Meng Ting's eyes seemed to have caught a small stone. They were so red, it almost made me want to fight Zhou Yang for his wife. This comment was deleted by the chat administrator after 5 seconds. Coincidentally, Zhou Yang was the administrator. He showed me these posts and couldn't help asking, "What's the situation with you and Senior Zhou Yang now?" A lot of people have been sneaking around asking if you two broke up. At that moment, I was looking at a message from Zhou Yang, and upon hearing this, my lips pressed down slightly, showing a gloomy mood. "We haven't broken up, but we haven't dated either." He looked puzzled. What does that mean? Did you guys have a fight? I told him everything that happened before and after my memory loss, wanting to hear someone else's opinion on the situation. After listening, He kept lamenting at Zhou Yang's trickery, but then he said something to me. "But since you both like each other, how it happened doesn't matter." What matters the most then? The outcome. He's words enlightened me. I always thought dating was about the process, not the outcome. But thinking about it differently, since Zhou Yang and I liked each other, why waste so much energy? Just enjoy being lovey-dovey together. After coming to this realization, I planned to have an honest talk with Zhou Yang, but he invited me out first for a road trip and camping. Some of his roommates and close friends will participate too. These guys were very close to Zhou Yang. They seemed to tease Zhou Yang and me along the way, but actually, they were trying to set us up. I smiled as they joked around. When I felt really shy, I would instinctively look at Zhou Yang, and he would kick them to shut them up. This only led to louder teasing. So much so that during a game of truth or dare at the camping site when it was my turn, a group of guys mischievously suggested that Joe Yang and I go to the nearby woods for 10 minutes before returning. It was like sending two people who had chemistry into a closet. I pursed my lips, stood up, and walked towards the woods first. The familiar footsteps quickly followed behind me. The small forest at night is quiet and eerie. Only the sound of my breathing and Zhou Yang's could be heard, along with a sliver of light from the camp. Thinking we had walked far enough, I stopped to talk things over with Zhou Yang. Unexpectedly, Zhou Yang took the initiative to call out to me. Mengting? A shiver ran down my spine, and I slowly turned to face him. In the dim light, the handsome young man's eyes were downcast, his silhouette partially obscured. What's wrong? There are some bugs flying around wildly, like they are on drugs. Come closer. I'm a guy. Why would I be afraid of bugs? Though I said that, my body honestly moved closer to him. But I tripped over a protruding tree trunk and fell straight towards Zhou Yang. Zhou Yang caught me in his arms, his fresh breath filling my nose. I barely steadied myself and quickly thanked him. Thank you. Being polite doesn't mean much. How about some real action? His tone was teasing, and I instinctively wanted to push him away. What do you mean? I want to kiss you. I remembered he had previously refused to let me kiss him, so I deliberately refused. No. Zhou Yang didn't speak, just watched me intently. My heart softened, and I stammered. Then, just once. But just as I was about to lift my face to kiss him, the ground suddenly shook. Branches began to fall, and birds and insects flew chaotically. The screams of people in the campsite, accompanied by the roaring sounds from the ground, made everyone's heart leap. It's an earthquake! Be careful! I was stunned. An earthquake? When faced with danger, people instinctively freeze. But by the time I reacted, Zhou Yang had already grabbed me and was running towards an open area. His usually lazy expression was gone, replaced by a stark seriousness. This reassured me immensely. Fortunately, we weren't far from the campsite and quickly ran back. Just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief, Zhou Yang suddenly pushed me hard. I fell to the ground in a heap, and a large tree crashed down right behind me. Ignoring the pain, I turned my head in panic. Zhou Yang was lying unconscious beside the fallen tree. At that moment, it felt as though my blood was flowing backward. I scrambled over to him. Zhou Yang? No response. Not daring to delay, I quickly piggybacked him on my back and headed towards our friends. As I stumbled, I thought of how Zhou Yang used to carry me, always steady and strong. My nose began to tingle, but I kept it in. Fortunately, we ran into Zhou Yang's roommates coming to look for us. The earthquake had stopped. We hurriedly drove down the mountain, but the road was jammed with tourists also trying to leave. I held Zhou Yang's head in the car, anxious. Meng Ting, don't panic. I just saw on the news it was a magnitude 5 earthquake. The road damage isn't severe, and rescue teams are already on the way. Stop talking. Get some people to clear the way up front, or Zhou Yang is going to turn into a muggle. His friends immediately got out to plead with the people ahead to let us through. At this moment, the man in my arms moved, accompanied by a low groan of pain. Ouch! I was both shocked and relieved. Zhou Yang, you're awake. Is your head still hurting a lot? His roommate dove into the car to check. Damn, Zhou Yang is tough, getting hit on the head by a tree, and he's fine. He's truly the most handsome man in University A. Amidst the noisy chatter, the young man slowly opened his eyes, his gaze filled with my joyful face. With great anticipation, Zhou Yang looked at me, his brows slightly furrowed as he spoke indifferently. Who are you? Everyone was stunned. I was completely at a loss. Zhou Yang had amnesia after being hit by a tree? What kind of soap opera twist is this? Taking turns with amnesia, huh? When I had amnesia, he became my boyfriend, and when he has amnesia, he just forgets me completely. My eyes instantly reddened, my nose stinging. Then, Zhou Yang's expression changed. He suddenly sat up, humorously pulling me into an embrace and wiping my tears. Meng Ting, why are you so gullible? I'm sorry, don't cry. I was even more confused. You don't have amnesia? No, I was just pranking with you. Quite the prank. His playful nature was both frustrating and endearing. I punched him on the arm and Zhou Yang didn't dodge, smilingly holding my hand and kissing it. His friends also breathed a sigh of relief, then scolded him. I was begging people to clear the road for you, and you were playing games? I can't bear with you anymore. No gifts at the wedding then. It turns out we were also part of your play. Damn. Jo-young took it all in stride, eventually promising to treat them to a seafood feast to calm everyone down. After they walked away grumbling, it was just the two of us left in the car. Jo-young put away his smile and looked at me seriously. Mengting, don't worry. Even if I really lost my memory, I'd still remember you're the person I like the most. I coughed lightly. Don't tell me you've also labeled me as boyfriend in your phone? That's not it. Saying this, he took out his phone, tapped a few times, and showed it to me. His label for my contact was baby, reflecting his cherished affection for me. As always, full of intimacy. Jo-young, if I hadn't called you that time after losing my memory, what would you have done? Well, Jo-young leisurely squeezed my hand. I'd probably have not been able to resist and start pursuing you, even if you would reject me. I wouldn't. I leaned towards him, smelling the mix of leaves and laundry detergent on his clothes and noticing the small scrape on his neck. Because I fell for you at first sight, so I wouldn't reject you. Jo-young, let's date. Let's date seriously while we're both sane. Jo-young paused, surprised by my straightforwardness. Then his eyes suddenly burst with brilliant color. Just like the first time I saw him. Dazzling. Jo-young leaned down and kissed me, earnest and cherishing. Hello, I really am your boyfriend now. Jo-young's perspective, yes, this patient has lost his memory. I watched as the doctor's mouth moved continuously, but in my mind the song Good Luck Coming played on repeat. Mengting has amnesia, yet somehow he mistook me for his boyfriend. This can also be considered a blessing in disguise. My heart couldn't calm down for a long time. Just as I was finally feeling a bit more composed, I turned my head and saw Mengting looking at his phone, smiling gently. His puffy under-eye bags were pure and appealing. What are you giggling about? His face turned red as he handed me the phone. Jo-young, there are so many photos of you in my phone. How should I describe my shock at that moment? If he might have just dialed the wrong number before, then how can those sneaky photos be explained? There is only one explanation. He likes me too. That's great. The person I like also likes me. But this is a bit of happiness I've stolen, and I've always been afraid of losing it. I didn't expect that day to come so soon. Mengting remembered. But fortunately, he didn't resist me. He was just a bit awkward and shy. All right, then I definitely won't let him go.